PDP in Kano. And later on the show, bandits continue onslaught in Katsina State, abduct children, gun down parents, and force oppressed victims to release their wives and daughters for sex. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kairi Balogun. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with the debacle of Nigeria's Israel Super Cup, Abba Kyari, with security agencies in Nigeria and the United States. It appears he has gotten a temporary relief regarding one of his cases. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed the extradition suit filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, seeking to surrender Kyari to the United States of America to face fraud charges. The judge, Justice Inyang Ekwo, said Malami is responsible for the failure of the case by instituting the extradition proceedings despite pending criminal case against Kyari. Now, in Nigeria, Julie, when they started this case, and lawyers told us that it's like a standard practice that you can't be seeking to extradite somebody while the person is having a local case. Yeah. That's the case. The local case must have been dispensed of, or you suspend it while you face the extradition squarely. Now it's as if there's like a calculated attempt to bungle up this case. I don't think the Attorney General will say he's a senior advocate of Nigeria and we have his battery of lawyers and advisors that will tell him that, look, you can't do this while you are seeking to get this.
And that's the plank upon which the Justice Inyang Ekwo dismissed the case. The judge said the AGF, being the chief law officer, should be aware that Extradition Act prevents the surrender of a defendant who is currently being tried by a local court. The AGF could not say he was not aware of the pending proceedings against the defendant, which was entered against him by the NDLA. You know, he was referring to the matter of Kyari's trial over 25 kilogram cocaine, 25 kilograms of cocaine, which he negotiated along with some of the people close to him. I think there was a sting operation. He was not aware that it was a sting operation, and he was recorded negotiating, you know, for the release of the substance, the illicit drug to him. So the law is clear. Once there is a pending case, you cannot file for extradition. That matter has to be dispensed with by way of the conviction of the fellow or the dismissal of the case. So if it's dispensed with, then you can now file that action. But the Attorney General has to realize, he ought to realize, it's elementary law, that once there's a pending case against the defendant, you can't extradite him. The judge will simply dismiss the matter so that he can go and face that local case.
Some people
I knew all along that
is this deliberate?
No, I don't think so. You know, people sometimes make these claims because they don't understand how the judge is thinking or the Attorney General is thinking. The Attorney General, because the Americans did everything that they had to do. They presented the matter before Nigerian authorities. There was an indictment. After the indictment, the FBI proceeded to investigate his indictment, and then hush puppy, himself made confessions. That's why they are calling himself confessed fraudster now. Made confessions, and they were able to establish a case against Abba Kyari. Maybe the Attorney General was just thinking of a way to say, okay, you want to have this man extradited, but we have a process. Let the matter go through that process so that you won't blame me. Is the court that you will seek later as the court that refused to allow his extradition. Maybe that was what he was thinking. Don't forget that the matter of his extradition came even before his arrest by the...
Yes, NDLA.
Yes. NDLA. The issue of his extradition had come up earlier.
Yes.
So maybe he just wanted the court to dispense with the case so that they will now face this one fully. I guess that's what... this one, no one can say this is an attempt to bungle. Our law is clear.
From what we've seen before, we know that anything that has to do with extradition is not something that is very straightforward. We witnessed so the one of Senator Buruji, late Buruji Kashamu, went on and on and on, some procedures like that.
Well, till Buruji departed this earth, we are still trying to extradite him. In fact, the former head of state took it as a holy grail to make sure that the man was extradited. You are correct. But I disagree with Jide that this is just bungling. Because you can't even tell somebody who's a novice that an SAM, a Minister of Justice, is over 1,000 lawyers, most of them are advocates, who don't know the basic tenets of the extradition law. It's not possible. Like the Americans will say, you can piss on my head, but don't call it rain. And that's what the Americans will look at this case. Because it's so obvious, black and white, that somebody somewhere bungled this case. It may not be the Malami as a person. It may just be somebody in the Ministry of Justice. But this was bungled basically by the Nigerian government as the prosecutors. Because as far back as March on this program, remember, this was said, that once they start the NDLA trial, no judge on earth will allow them to take Kyari out of these shots. And we are not lawyers, and we know 8 months ago. So they have options to do this 2 ways. One, withdraw the extradition order until the local matter was tested. Then start afresh, or rush it like this, and then leave yourself open to accusation of favoritism or bungling, as they call it. So to me, that's the danger, because it's about perception.
Me, I don't understand the use of the word bungling. Honestly, I don't
That's
understand.
what people are using as it.
Because people use words loosely. What is bungling? He allowed the extradition trial to go on. The court then decided that, okay, this matter, we are not going to extradite him to the US because of a pending trial. That is what our law says. If this was done, if the prosecution bungled the extradition, you understand, without this other matter in place, that is when we can be talking about bungling. Bungling what? There's nothing like bungling. In any case, you can't extradite him with that case there. So it's not, bungling is not the word.
The long and short of this story is that some people have been saying it that, look, that they are going to do everything possible to make sure that he does not have his day in court in the US. Whatever wants to happen to him is better to happen to him here.
Yes, people said that.
Theory.
Okay, people said that. But we are journalists. That case is stronger than, for us, that case that is facing is a bigger case than even the one in the US. Okay. Because here is the most decorated Nigerian policeman of all time being involved in illicit drug business. Many of us will want to see that particular matter to its logical conclusion. Let us see where it ends. For me, that's even better than going over there. If now the way it's done in other places, you can actually finish your jail term here, and the Americans will still call for you. Or even if they lie, they can even arrest you. It happened to even a sitting president. Immediately he finished serving his jail term in the US, that's Noriega. The French were waiting so that he can go and continue and start his trial in their own country.
For another crime.
The point I'm making is, this is just academic exercise. You know that that court will not extradite him. But to fulfill all righteousness, let the Americans see that you try to bring someone before a court of law on the matter, on the application that they presented to you. You allowed it to go on, and the law of our land prevailed. So I'm not seeing that as bungling. Those who made up their minds that this guy will never be extradited, they never envisaged that the NDLA matter will come up. Don't forget that the NDLA had to even release that video when it was clear that some people were reluctant to release Abakari to them. Remember since when they said they had even informed yes. So the NDLA has his case. They've already convicted 2 of his accomplices. So me, I don't see bungling anywhere. There's no, if it is that other one that we can now focus on, let us see whether that one can be bungled. But in this case, bungling is not the word.
Okay. So by implication now, Abakari stays in Nigeria to answer, to face the law.
All the allegations, yeah.
All right. Moving on now. The ongoing strike by the members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is getting more intractable. After a series of heated discussions, ASU has decided to extend the 6-month-old strike indefinitely. ASU took the decision after its National Executive Council meeting at the union's headquarters in Abuja, at the University of Abuja, this Monday. Is there hope in sight regarding this matter? Wow. This is the height of a lot of people when they saw this, and they now looked at it as height of insensitivity on both parts. Yeah. Especially on the part of the federal government of Nigeria. ASU now indefinite. Jide?
There's no time that we talk about this that we don't suggest what should be done. But some people have made up their mind. They see this as a situation in which they must not come out of it like losers. Do you get the point I'm making? Some already see this as a zero-sum game. You must not defeat me. It must not look like you defeated me. That's the way these people are seeing this matter, and it smacks of childishness. Because in any conflict,
what is at stake is
there must not be a reluctance to negotiate. When was the last time we saw an attempt at true negotiation on this matter? Even war. People in Colombia, they killed themselves for more than 60 years. They still had to negotiate.
Sit down. Tete-a-tete.
So when did we see what looked like negotiation? Call ASU, let us talk. When was the last time that we saw that happen? I think that the strategy of the government is, let's keep this strike for as long as it can go. We'll kick the can down the road, and maybe when these guys are stalked by hunger, they will pile pressure on their colleagues, and the neck of ASU will then say, okay, this strike has to end because we are hungry.
Not been paid since February, most of them.
Yes. Now, but they have a history of going on such long strikes. Although ideally for a well-organized union that can predict that this will be protracted, they should have been saving money for their colleagues so that when this thing happens, they can fall back on some form of allowance for their members to hold body. You know, as is often said, to hold body together. Now, they've not been paid. They are going through the pain, but they are reluctant to say this strike must end. I have friends among academics in the universities. I was talking to one of them in Kano. He said, "Today we are suffering, but we will not end the strike." That if government will set up committee to negotiate with us, and the same government committee that is set up will then turn in its report, and government will not look at the report that is set up, a committee that is set up by itself 2 times, that they too will allow the strike to go on. But the bigger shame is to the government. That's what they don't realize. And there are consequences for this kind of behavior. Part of the consequences we saw in Osun, because the younger people, some of them were motivated to even register to vote because of one, they are at home, they are idle. The young girls amongst them, they become runs girls all over the place, offering their body in exchange for money.
The boys are now cultists.
The boys are cultists. They are angry. Now they decided to register. Even INEC acknowledged that this last election in Osun, that there was a huge number of first-time voters.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were motivated by anger and vengeance. So, are we going to continue like
watch
this?
them like this? An
election is coming.
Okay, GKB. Before they went on this full-blown extension, before they announced it, the federal government now insisted, okay, we are going to take your demands and everything, but we are not going to pay you for those times that you went on strike. Do you think that is fair?
Well, what is not fair is for government not to renege on so many promises they made in the past. This particular round of, what do you call it now? Strike. If you remember, for the past 2-3 years, they will go on strike, they will call it off. They will go maybe 2 weeks, they will come back, 2 months, they will come back. And yet government refused to accede to their demands. Now they've acceded, they put another clog in the wheel towards resolution. Personally, I think as the owners of the universities, federal government should be the bigger man. This zero-sum game does not pay anybody. Because it's not only ASU members, don't forget, even NASU members, non-academic staff, have not been paid for 4-5 months.
We're told that those ones have called off SANU, NASU, and then...
All the attempt to even call off...
Even, you see, it's like there is piecemeal negotiation.
Yeah, by universities.
But the thing is, even if they call off,
nothing will move in that sector.
Without the academic staff back at work,
the
university will not open.
It's just like the
students will not come back.
So far, the lecturers are not.
You'll just be wasting their time.
What are we talking about? Even when we were in the schools, if students declare that they are not going to class, if we abstain from lectures, even for 24 hours, the school will be closed.
They'll close it down. Yeah.
That is the policy. If students, maybe something happened and they are angry, they say, okay, we are not going to receive lectures. We'll stay away from lectures. Even for 24 hours, the school will be closed down. Others are just, what do you call them? Support staff. You know?
That's where we are. So government must be the bigger man here. Whatever it is required to open our universities, they must do so. Because this is not going away.
Is it that, Julie, something came to my mind yesterday this morning when I got this news. Is it that President Buhari does not have it in mind that, look, it's 6 months, barely 6 months to the next election, that if we don't solve this crisis,
it can affect our party.
It can affect the party. That a lot of people that are looking at this party will be hard to sell. Nigerians are going through a lot already.
Yes,
hunger, poverty, unemployment.
Even on the issue of security, it's already hard to sell in many places.
What are they going to bring?
For those of us who go to the north, when you ask people, they talk about that security all the time. You've got to come up with a blueprint. You've got to come up with something that is convincing for people to say, yes, we know that in terms of security, the next few years will be better under this party. So you brought this strike into it. If you think it's just ASU that you are making, you are punishing. No, you are not punishing ASU alone. Those students that you wasted 6 months of their academic lives, you are punishing them. And look at what Femi Falana said today.
Results?
Look at what Kemi Falana said today. He said, see, implement the report.
Yeah.
You commissioned the report in the first place. You are the one who said they should go and do that report. You chose the person who headed the committee. You told them, go and negotiate with ASU. They've negotiated with ASU twice and presented you with report. At some point, you've got to be able to look at that report and say, okay, implementation time, call ASU. This is the report, but we've not got the money to implement all of this. Can we find a middle ground where they are saying that they should increase the salary of some categories of workers by more than 100%? Because it's in that Neme Briggs report. You can say, okay, the gentleman Neme Briggs came up with this, but based on what we're going through at this time in our country, we cannot go beyond this level. ASU, can you accept this? Then you talk about UTAS. UTAS, they've already verified it. What is the big deal? In those days when we didn't have UTAS, did we not survive as a country? Was academic life not going on in our universities? They will produce better products. And our universities were among the best in the world. So why are we behaving like, oh, if they do that UTAS, the heavens will collapse on our heads? So sometimes it's difficult to understand why these things are happening. You raise the valid question of election is coming. Yeah. You are demarketing your party. You are demarketing your party. It's clear. Because you need these young people, you need their votes. And more of them are becoming charged.
Getting ready.
They are getting ready. Some are joining Labour Party, some are joining others. There's a reason for that. It's the anger in the land.
Yes. All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still journalistic Hangout.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from MacArthur
Welcome back. Still journalist Hangout. It took former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau just 2 months to end his romance with the new Nigeria People's Party, led by his political rival, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Shekarau, who is the sitting senator representing Kano Central, has returned a prodigal to the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The Tomoso crowd of supporters and party bigwigs like the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, his running mates, and Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, former Vice President Nnamdi Sambo, and the party's national chairman Yocha Ayu, among others, were on hand to receive him in Kano. Oh, Jide, we started this yesterday, and we saw the role, the inglorious role that was played by Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and the way his political maneuvering and the way he trapped Senator Shekarau. And Senator Shekarau is back to the People's Democratic Party, maybe to pick what is left of whatever is on ground of his political career. But it's a very, very dicey situation in Kano.
You know, every election year we see drama, all kinds of drama. I've talked about Kano being a political tripod. So it's now looking like a table with 4 sides.
Rectangle.
That's the way it is now. It's a rectangle. It's no longer a political tripod, it's a political rectangle now. In the past, you needed 2 of the 3 gladiators teaming up to win, because one of them, one individual big shot amongst those 3 gladiators could not be guaranteed of victory in the governorship election or even presidential election, except one worked with him. Now, what we are going to see is Governor Ganduje,
Abdullah Ganduje,
on one side, Kwankwaso on one side, Shekarau
PDP.
on one side, PDP, APC, NNPP, and the remnants. There are some people who have left
APC,
who have left Kwankwaso. There are some who have left Ganduje. We saw in 2019 some powerful people join the PRP, for example. You know, the PRP didn't win, but they registered their presence in a way. So now, nothing like 2 against 1 in Kano politics anymore. It's now all the 3 of them are now in different parties. You know, in 2019, Senator Shekarau
was with the government.
had to join in the build-up to the 2019 election. He had to join the APC.
Yes, with the governor.
Yes, he had to join the APC.
To vanquish Kwakwaso's candidates.
Because he could not see himself remaining in the PDP with Kwankwaso in that party. You know, the scenario is also what we have. That kind of scenario is what we have in Sokoto, where Atahiru Bafarawa and Magata Kadawamako will never be in the same party. Once one goes to a party, the other one moves out. That's what the situation that we have in Kano. Shekarau left his party to go and team up with the APC. But in the end, now he's been betrayed by a man who saw that the governor had gone to beg him and quickly went to him to say, look,
Don't go.
don't go, this person has messed you up, don't go back there. I'm going to...
I'll give you this, I'll give you that.
this, I'll give you that. You know, the man was talking about unfulfilled promises, you know. At the end of the day, you left him with, you left only Shekarau with a ticket. The rest of his supporters. Who is a politician without his supporters? A politician?
You know, we were saying yesterday, so Shekarau is still holding the ticket of...
No, he's given it up now.
Okay.
Because it is not...
Crossing over automatically?
Yes. He said it that it's a sacrifice for justice and fair play that he has had to make. Because you can't be a card-carrying member of the PDP and say that you are the candidate of the NNPP. In fact, the moment they started having this back and forth and it looked very likely that Shekarau will leave the party, he started telling his people to remove Shekarau's pictures from NNPP offices. So that comes across like somebody who was ready for a fight ab initio. To treat a man like Shekarau has been treated is very, very bad. Is in a very bad taste. But I know that Shekarau will have picked up some lessons from this. If someone is your adversary,
under no circumstances,
don't be easily taken in by some of his friendly actions. you have to look at the past. Can this person
You trust them.
be trusted? Can this person be trusted?
Senator Kwankwaso is brutal.
So, Kwankwaso has been tested on the altar of trust. And he failed the test. He failed that test in dull colors.
Morality.
Not in shiny colors. He failed that test in dull colors. So this is the thing. It's really unfortunate, but the loss of NNPP is PDP's gain.
How would this impact on the aspiration of Atiku Abubakar? That a lot of people will say that he has suffered, he has lost a lot of ground in the East. You know, when he had Obi as his running mates 4 years ago, you know, his presence was very, very impactful in the East, that southeast. But right now, it's looking like a gone from that region. And for Kano now, for him, bringing his people today, that will at least boost his chances.
Well, we will get a boost. How long the boost is last is another thing entirely. Because you and I know that 24 hours is a long time in politics. Who would have thought that the almighty Shekarau will leave NNPP barely 2 months after joining the party? And I see a lot of crossovers in Kano in the next 2, 3, 4 months, until maybe a week or even days before the presidential election. Because one thing is very clear. Nothing right now is cast in stone. So no matter what people are doing now in pursuit of the agenda of the 3 camps in Kano, looking for where to birth, they will be the deciding factor in the 3-horse race. They are going to so this the undecided, like they say in the US, that will determine the Kano race, and that will start manifesting from around February, around January, weeks to the election, and that will be the direction that everybody else will follow. Even those who are moving to other parties.
Julian, we said yesterday that it's going to be difficult for an individual to get out the figure they used to get, that they got in 2015.
The Buhari
from
figures.
Kano. That it's going to be difficult.
No, not in this election. It can't happen. Atiku will get some votes based on Shekarau's defection. And you know, when Atiku came in today, he donated 50 million to the Kantinkori textile market men. That's the biggest textile market in West Africa. You know, and it was affected by flooding. It was heavy rains today in Kano. So he donated 50 million to them. You know, he's trying to galvanize the Shekarau base to say, look, we are going to support you, but we also need your support and all that. So, but there are others too who will be so disenchanted with what's going on, and they will just tell themselves, why don't we just go back to the ruling party? In the ruling party, we have all kinds of opportunities. And I can tell you that even one of the Senator Shekarau's strongest supporters has been made a commissioner designate by Governor Ganduje. That was done for a reason, to show the rest of them that, look, if there is still opportunity for you, if you come back home, you know, that's a clear message that's been sent to them. And I know that as we move towards the election, some of these things, the ruling party will make moves.
Yeah,
to have some of them.
If you check out what happened in 2019, build up to 2019, and after that election, Jide, Abdullahi Ganduje seems to be showing that he has what it takes to withstand the adversary from his predecessors and his
They are both his
bosses.
predecessors.
They are both his predecessors.
Yes.
He has been showing some promises. If you remember the Gamma onslaughts.
He's an old man that knows his onions. He's smart. He can play it rough when he wants to. And you see him, when you sit before Ganduje, he picks his words like a perfect gentleman. But beneath that gentleman's face,
That facade.
that you are seeing, is a cold, calculative, and decidedly brutal politician when he wants to. You know? And when he says, look, I'm not going to do this, no one can convince him to do it. PC back a long time ago. But the vibes that I was getting from the governor effectively turned him back.
Nothing for you.
Because there were people in the president's
to come back.
Yes, the president's inner caucus who were making moves, but you can't make those moves without also reaching out to the governor. You have to be sure that the governor is even ready to accept this
person, so that the terms and conditions.
They didn't get positive vibes from the old man, you know, because no one can tell you Kwankwaso's story better than Ganduje. There is a picture of him, of the two of them on a Vespa. They were very young. You saw that picture. Yeah. So they've been, they go way back. They go way back. So when people get involved in their matters, just leave them. He understands the man very well. So when he takes some steps, it's because he's taking those steps out of a good understanding of the person he's dealing with.
Okay, let's take Dr. Sule, Yao Sule, the media aide to Senator Shekarau. We expected you yesterday.
Yes, Mr. Ayo, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Tell us what happened today.
Yes, there was massive crowd today, actually, beyond our expectation, honestly. Vice President and all key officials of the party were around to receive Senator Ibrahim Shekarau into PDP. The former Vice President, Namadi Sambo, the presidential candidate, the running mate, all PDP stakeholders, governors, senators, and members of the National Working Committee were around to receive the senator. What is of interest most, actually, is the pronouncement by the senator himself that he has forgone his senatorial seat of decamping to PDP, meaning that he has written INEC withdrawing his candidature, which has already been filed with the INEC, that is Kano Central Senatorial seat, that he has withdrawn his candidature since he has decamped to PDP today.
So, tell me some of your own personal regrets about this journey. You were very excited when joining this NNPP. There was a lot of vibes coming from you and your colleagues. What are your own personal regrets about the way this thing went in the end?
One personal regret is that our time has been wasted, honestly. We went into NNPP with a high hope that we are moving to a party that we felt Kano will change completely from what it used to be. But unfortunately, after all the promises, when we were moving, there were so many promises, some even not solicited. The leader of the party came calling in Sardauna's house that, what do you want? He offering to give so many things, so many positions. But unfortunately, after the campaign to NNPP, all those promises, nothing, completely nothing. Because even the senatorial seat that was given to Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, it was not part of what was bargained for. It wasn't at all. But when we went in, none of our members was considered for any position. None, completely. This is one regret that we live to live with it.
Yes, because it means that the opportunity to contest and actually win some elective positions have been lost
by our members.
Our members.
Sure. Sure, this is exactly what is happening. It's only the only seat that was given was that of Senator Shekaro out of his 1,000 supporters, and that was not the promise.
It wasted your time.
The promise was that we'll be given certain percentage of all the positions. Certain percentage.
What was the percentage? What was the percentage that he offered you?
35%. 35%. They confessed to give us 35%.
Did you get 5% at the end of the day?
After joining the party, they reduced it to 5%. Upon that, we accepted, and yet even the 5% was not implemented.
Why do you think?
Yes.
Why do you think Kwankwaso treated
Ibrahim
Shekaro in this manner?
You know, Kwankwaso has been nothing this, I don't want to use the word hatred, but since his defeat, you know, he was a governor, incumbent governor, and defeated by someone he demoted. Remember, Shekaro was a permanent secretary in Kwankwaso's government. Shekaro was a permanent secretary in Kwankwaso's government during 1999.
We know.
He demoted him to a classroom teacher. Shekaro accepted that, and later some people called him to resign and come and contest the governorship. He did. He contested and defeated him. So I think he is still not seeing that defeat. He has not forgiven him for defeating him in 2003. And I think this is what we thought we were dealing with a different and refined Kwankwaso. Until when we get into the party to see that he is still not seeing that defeat. That defeat was not out of his sight up to now.
Sule, the going to PDP, I hope that everything was laid out before joining the party.
Oh, yeah, just coming to make the numbers.
You know, now you don't talk of any elective position now, because that has been concluded by going by INEC timetable. By 12th of August, all substitution finished. So now we are ready to work for the success of the party. And after which, whatever comes afterward, then we take it.
No electric positions.
I want to thank you,
Thanks.
Dr. Sule, our good friend in Journalist Hangout, media
Long time no see.
aide to Senator Ibrahim Shekaro. Jide, I feel so bad.
No. If you know, Shekaro is a decent man.
What's a pity?
We need decent people in politics. But even the treatment meted out to Shekaro now will tell you that we showed that even many decent people, when they get into politics, they get their fingers burnt.
Okay, look at our friend. Look at the senator, the House of Rep member that used to be the spokesman for Bola Tinubu campaign. He's now in NNDP. I don't know what to Senator Jubril.
Let's leave Jubril.
Don't know what to become of him at the end.
No, he's going to
No, he's
contest.
still in NNP.
Okay,
He's
going
going
to contest in.
Yes.
He's going to House of Reps. The ticket of the party.
All right, and finally, it appears that the more we relax in our efforts to tackle insecurity ravaging our country, the stronger the bandits grow to inflict pains on hapless citizens. In Katsina, bandits intensified their onslaught on several communities. During attacks on several communities between Thursday and Friday, the bandits abducted several children, killed some parents, and forced oppressed victims to release their wives and daughters for sex. Those are terrible stories to hear. Jide, they have their own colony here, and they are just behaving the way they want.
Yes. The attacks are unremitting. We're carrying out attacks across Zamfara and Katsina states. In more than 13 local governments, in at least 13 local governments in Katsina, banditry is happening almost on a daily affair. But what I find really troubling is the fact that they would now surrender their wives or their daughters. And if you see where these terrorists are flogging people, you will know that except a person is prepared to die, he will yield to their demands, because they are living they are living in those communities with those people. It's like they have annexed those communities. They are living with
their
the
own
people.
kingdom there.
They are just there. I've seen videos of bandits moving around. They are staying in community and forcing people to pay tax to them. They even appoint district heads, because once they attack an area, the district head knows that they will be the target. So they usually run away, run to the state capital. So once they flee the area, they will now appoint their own people and tell the residents that, look, pay your tax to this person. If you love your life, pay your tax. If you don't pay, you get the flogging of your life. You could even lose your life. And then the story also shows that they would take over people's farms and turn the owners of the farms to their slaves.
To slave laborers, yeah.
So you'll be working in your own farm. You'll be tilling your field
for the bandits. To reap the.
So when it's time for harvest, they will be the ones to harvest. The alternative is, okay, negotiate with us, pay us,
pay a percentage, yeah,
for you to have access to your farm and then harvest, or for you to have access to your farm and start planting. You know, the rains have begun now. Usually, once the first rain happens in the north, they know that it's signal to prepare, for the planting season, the new planting season. And the rains are actually on full swing now. Everywhere, even in Abuja, it's raining. Someone told me that for the past 4 days, it's been raining in Abuja, you know? So this is the time when people should actually escalate their work on their farms. But these boys are making life difficult for people. Did you see a video where one young boy was saying, look, you can see, we look happy, all of us, we are on this field, we are working, everybody's working on his field. But if you stay here beyond 4 p.m., if you don't have 100 million, your life may be in danger. He did a video.
Where would they get 100 million from? You know, when you talk about these things, it's, some people will feel that you don't like the government of the day, but a lot of people will tell them that this is beyond, this is reality. The reality for these people, most of the time, they don't get to be reported.
Yeah,
a lot of things that transpire in these areas that being controlled by the bandits.
We've said it many times that we have a parallel government in the fringes of our country. We have bandits all sway, and nobody has been able to deny that. They may off, they may puff, but they've not been able to show us with proof that what we are saying is not true, which is rather unfortunate. Yes, the Nigerian army is doing a fantastic job, and yes, they cannot totally eliminate banditry overnight, but they still need to do more, because this is getting out of hand. And like Gide said, if they don't plant, yeah, we are looking for famine. And somebody is already celebrating that we are the biggest rice producers on the continent. But if this thing continue to happen, we move from number 1 to 0 in no time. So what we need to do, let's do it. I commend the army, because they've been using the Tucanos to maximum effect. But Nigeria is a very large country, and we need to put more men behind the guns to see what we can do to get this matter resolved. Those denying that we have these challenges, we leave them to their faith.
Actually, when you look at the situation now for the children, for the wives, most of these people, they get to abduct them, they take them into this forest, and we've forgotten many of them.
Defile them.
And they've turned,
some of the young boys will even become bandits themselves, because they mentioned children kidnapped, taken into the bush. That's the reason why they kidnap children and young women. They need some of the young women as sex slaves, or people who cook for them in the forest and all that.
And the boys are
and you know, when I went to Katsina the other day, one reality that I found troubling is the fact that more and more women are getting involved in this. Even the governor confirmed to me that more and more women are involved in banditry now.
Really?
There's a confession. Yes, there's a woman that was arrested.
An informant.
Yes, an informant. And the confession is already going viral.
Okay, I have Charles. Charles is calling us from Ayobo in Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Charles.
Good evening, Jidayo and also.
Oh, no.
Yes, what I want to say is that I think Nigeria has turned to a stock in the Committee of Nations now. You can see the video that you're screening on your TV right now, that these people are just in an open place. That even the simplest drone locate them. For me, it's like the government knows what they are doing. Because these people can be picked up at any point in time and get them out of this world. Because these are animals. They are animals. They have their own children, and they now sort of let the federal government that they are surrendering. They now left their own children, their wives and children out, and they now settle them. And they are now having the opportunity to now start.
Thank you.
You know, there's a story of a woman that was raped by 40 bandits.
Yeah.
40. In fact, you can't watch. There was a particular video where the woman was saying, "No, but I'm married." He said, then the bandit said, "If you deny me sex, I'm going to kill you right here." And they filmed themselves.
It's horrible. Horrible.
They filmed themselves just sleeping with the woman. Animals. There's no other word to describe this kind of people. And the earlier they are exterminated, the better. Because I don't see, these are not, I mean, they are not, they've lost the rights to remain in the human race. They've lost that.
Give us an update. What's happening to 2G? I was told that he's trying to cooperate with the authority, that he might lead down his arm. Do you believe such measures?
We discussed this earlier, and my position is, look, anytime the Air Force appears to be getting it right in the Northwest, you find people like 2G saying they want to surrender. Your camps, surrender everything, surrender all your guns. Then they will know that you are ready. But a situation in which they just surrender a few of their guns and they deceive us that, oh, they want to make peace, and they go back after they collected money, you've made them happy. Look about Buhari Daji, they even gave him vehicles. This Isuzu Tiger, they gave him those vehicles. They treated him like a human being. But he went back, only to be killed by Dogo Gide. A rival. It was a rival that killed him. Somebody that we've been chasing for long, we couldn't kill. It took a Dogo Gide to take him out after he stole cattle belonging to Dogo Gide's in-laws.
Danica Iriwalumu, thank you for your contribution.
Always a pleasure.
And Bikio, thank you for always being there. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. And don't forget to join us every Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Join us to stop crude oil and product theft at production sites, on the pipeline, at terminals, at the depots, on vessels, at refineries. Help stop crude oil and product theft. Reporting